Shalom, shalom, set apart men. Man, welcome back to another episode, man, where we teach men, young and old, how to live set apart, how to walk more obedient to the will of the Most High Yah, and how to navigate a lot of the challenges men face in this wicked world. Man, in today's video, man, this topic is gonna sound so simple, but when I tell you, man, it is so important to a man's life. Man, today we're talking about the importance of choosing a wife with good sense. I'm not talking about education. I'm not talking about, all of this stuff that the world promotes. Man, I'm talking about a woman that can count the cost of her actions, of her decisions. But before I dive into it, man, brothers, I need you to do me a solid. Man, I need you to smash that like button. I'm telling you, man, man, when you think about a way to show your support, man, that don't cost you anything. You know you're going to stick around and watch the rest of the video, so go ahead and smash that like button. Secondly, consider subscribe. No, scratch that. Subscribe to the Set Apart Man. Man, you're here for a reason, so you might as well, not miss out on any of the future videos I'm dropping. Subscribe to the channel, and if you subscribe, man, turn your notifications on, set them to all notifications. That way you don't miss a single video. Thirdly, man, drop me a comment down below answering this question. Oftentimes as men, we choose some of the most ignorant, women that lack common sense, and list down below how that's problematic in a man's life by choosing a woman that does not have good sense. Let's start the conversation. But furthermore, roll that intro.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave like everyone else. You were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another righteous, Ruach Spirit-filled episode of The Set Apart Man. Once again, I'm back at it in them trenches, handling that kingdom business. Man, although the topic of today's video sounds so simple, man, I'm gonna prove to you that, man, when a man chooses a woman that does not have good sense as a wife that does not count the cost, the consequences of that always fall back on a man. Man, in today's society, man, we're seeing high rates of divorce. The majority of divorces are being filed by women. We're also seeing a plethora of women who leave peaceful homes, warm homes, homes and marriages where there's food in the refrigerator, the bills is getting paid, everything is getting taken care of. These women are actually saying, man, I left a good man. He was a good man, but I was looking for better. And these women get on TikTok, get on YouTube, get on social media, Facebook, and make videos of, man, I divorced my husband and I didn't know that the price of my happiness was so expensive. Everything is so expensive. Help me out as a divorced single woman. I left a good man and he has moved on with his life. That's the kind of videos they out there making. And man, what you have is men that didn't discern the true spiritual condition of these women. And we're seeing so much of this, man. We're seeing so much of this, but the root of the problem is choosing a woman with good sense. And frankly, most of us men don't choose a woman with good sense because when we're entertaining these women, we don't even recognize the signs that, man, this is not a woman that can go the distance with us. Okay? So In doing that and knowing she can't go the distance, us not having good sense, according to righteousness, man, it always backfires. Man, anytime you have a wife who, when you think about the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the Most High, joy, peace, long-suffering, temperance, man, the Most High ain't never promised you happiness. That's not a fruit of the Spirit. But like I said, man, you will have a woman who, man, she's not getting her way. She's entertaining what all these other women are out pushing on social media. And she'll leave a home that's warm, got food in the refrigerator, bills is paid, everything taken care of by a good man, all because she's chasing her own self-happiness. And here's what 95% of women do when they do that, especially if you've had children with them. Man, they take the children too. Well, me and the children are leaving. Children was happy. Children is content. Children is good as all. They like the stability. But in her own selfishness, chasing her own happiness, she'll take the children out of a good, stable, conducive environment for them growing up, and she'll jump out there in society and fall flat on her face. She'll use the family court and say, as a single mother, I can't afford an apartment. I can't afford to feed these children. I can't afford, all kind of foolishness. And this is where listen to me. This is where I said, man, there's consequences of choosing a woman that lacks sense and does not count the cost of her actions, of her decisions. So what do you do, man, if you're in one of these states that leans towards unhappy women taking these children with no plan? What happens is, man, she's gonna run you through that family court gauntlet, and they're gonna say, yeah, man, you need to take care of them kids, and hey, it's gonna cost you, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, and you're gonna have to pay her alimony because she can't afford to live. Men, that all comes back to you chose a woman that didn't have good sense. That's all that comes back to. Okay, here's another one. Man, you have some women that a man has chosen to plant seed in. Maybe not make her a wife, but you chose to plant seed in her. And rather than cooperating with the man, working on her deficiencies, striving to become a wife, what does she do? No, I don't need no man. Me and my baby gonna be fine. So she rides child support for 18 years. And then we've seen it time and time again. When that child turns 18 or decides to leave home, man, these women have an emotional breakdown. Every time, an emotional breakdown. Okay? Not only are they lonely because there's nobody else in the house, but their bank accounts is also lonely. Man, a lot of women choose 18 years of child support to do whatever they want and live unhinged. A lot of these women, man, when you think about it, this government shutdown exposed a lot. It exposed a lot of the rebellion of these women. Man, the government shutdown, bro, it cracked feminism straight on the chin with a right jab. It exposed so much of these feminists, these liberal women. I don't need a man, I don't need this. And next thing you know, who was their man the whole time? The government. Man, you gotta choose a woman with good sense. Man, rather than working with a man and having provisions for the rest of their life, of their adult womanhood, now their pockets is hurting because the child is saying, man, this ain't life. I got to go out here and make something for myself, especially if you got young boys and they grow up and want to achieve something in life. Man, I'm telling you, you gotta choose a woman according to the will of the Most High Yah. The Most High Yah tells you what to look for. And here's furthermore, and fundamentally, here's what it comes down to. But the word says, man, a house and wealth comes from the Father, but a prudent wife comes from the Most High Yah. Prudent means you got foresight to think about the future. You got foresight. I tell you, man, men need to do a better job at diving into the mind of a woman. Forget her beauty. And here's the thing, bro, we got some of the most educated women. You think about it. We got educated women divorcing the most at 90% and higher. Men, we got to do a better job at diving in to the way that they think, the way that they process. Because let's face it, you got women out there doing foolishness. You got women out there that's college educated, know they only got $5, will go in a store, buy something $4.99 and get to the cash register and do all kind of foolishness because they can't pay the tax. All of a sudden, the place is racist. They gaslighting the cashier. Man, you want a woman that says, you know what, man, I've only got $5. I can't afford that thing that's $4.99. I need to go back and get something that's less so I can keep my dignity and my peace and purchase this and get up out of here. Man, you got to start, when you see, oftentimes we make too much excuses for women. And here's the thing, their ignorance and their stupidity. We make too many excuses because, man, we got our eyes focused on that cookie jar. That's the reality of it. Man, you want to be able to dive into a woman's mind spiritually and logically and look at when she does this stuff and it don't make no kind of sense at all. And she's like, oh, silly me. And you be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. No, you need to dive into that. You need to be asking, okay, man, remember when you faced that problem and this was your solution? Man, talk me through how you came up with that solution and why you thought that was the best solution. Man, you got to start diving into this. You have to. Because at the end of the day, man, if you choose a wife or you lay down and plant seed in a woman that don't have good sense, I encourage men to live righteous, live set apart. Man, take you a wife, get you a wife, but choose her according to righteousness. If you choose a woman that don't have good sense, don't have basic logic, don't have basic problems. See, man, in Western culture, women are not forced to do the math. They're not forced to do the math. They'll pop out. You got a woman that does not know what to look for in a man, will submit her body to all of these lowlifes, have 4-5 children, and then not count the cost of what it actually takes to feed them. You got women out there that will have children by a man that don't intend on marrying them, and then they'll do that same thing again with the same man. Women are not forced in Western society to do the math. Why? Because no matter what the equation is, if a man is tied to that equation, the answer is always the man coming out of his pocket having to fix these problems. Men, I tell you. So it behooves you not to be after the equal sign, but to be for. You need to be before anything adding up, subtract, multiplies, divide. No, you need to be, hey, man, let me see if this woman here. I'm gonna give you the telltale sign that a woman don't have good sense. I'm gonna shut this video down. This is all that need to be said. As a set apart man, anytime you got a woman, whether she's a believer or a non-believer, if she rejects the order, the will, and the righteousness of Yah outlined for how a woman is supposed to conduct herself, if she rejects that, brothers, you got a woman that lacks sense. She don't count the cost of her choices, of her actions. You ain't gonna get no accountability. You're not gonna get a good wife. You're not gonna get a good mother. I'm telling you, flat out, point blank, period. See, when you start to open that book up and you think about how is it that you religious? You the Christian one. I grew up in the church. But the minute we start looking at what a virtuous woman, what a righteous, set apart woman is supposed to be, you an objection to it. Well, I just feel like that's kind of, hey brothers, look, listen to me. You better subtract yourself from that equation for it equal pain to you later. Bottom line, point blank, period. Once again, this is the Set Apart Man. kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, men, stay set apart, stay disciplined, stay in that word of Yah. Bow.